Chapter 18, Incentive. Like I said to Medic Robinson here, I'm ready to volunteer. This would be a big help to my family. Julian gave Maisie the same shocked look he gave to the clerk. Indeed, he said, mustering his professionalism. Let's come sit in my office. Julian sat and perused the letter a few more times and then gave the phone back to the man. This letter is an interest survey, Julian said. I was not aware of it, so I apologize for my surprise. As I understand from what I read here, the Department of Human Services is asking if certain people, those with chronic, debilitating, or terminal illnesses or advanced age, are willing to end their lives with medical assistance in exchange for a one-time $1 million payment to their families. Yes, sir, the man replied. I'm willing. My family needs the money. Sir, this is an interest survey, not a policy, at least not yet. Right now, I am not legally allowed to assist anyone with ending their lives, nor would I want to. In your case, you are making a decision based on your family's financial needs, not your own health or suffering. This is exactly what I worry will happen on a large scale if this becomes a policy. That is not my decision, but as a husband and a son, I urge you to see that your life is worth far more than $1 million. The man was crestfallen, but still kind. I sure wish I could cash it in. I would do anything to help my family. As soon as he left with an attendant to help him downstairs to the transport pickup, Maisie called Jude. Hey, Maisie, what's up? He asked. Jude, we have a problem. Here are some insights. For context, the Family Relief Act passes the corporate Congress and it is now heading to the Senate. The government is getting desperate because they're running out of money. President Connor basically went after all the SACs and closed them down and had everybody move into the cities. Well, when you do that, suddenly you've got a lot more people that are on the rolls, right? A lot more people that need universal basic income, need their health care, need their housing. So now the budget's getting stretched. They're running out of money and they're desperate. And of course, their strategy is to reduce the population, but that takes time. And so they're trying to speed it up. And one of his brilliant ideas was the Family Relief Act, which basically is paying people off to commit suicide, essentially is what it is. But it sounds better when you call it Family Relief Act. You say, well, it's just people who are going to die anyway, who are old or chronically ill or suffering. So, rather than have them, be on life support or, continue to take up thousands or millions of dollars in health care. Why don't you just let them voluntarily end their lives and we'll make a one-time $1 million payment to their families, and that will save everybody money. There'll be fewer people on the health care system. It sounds very logical, but that's only if you don't have a value for human life. And of course, the Sparrows are absolutely against this. The first point of their ideology is that life is sacred. And so absolutely this is not going anywhere. So they're going to oppose this right away. How do you think they're going to do it? How do you think they can defeat the bill? It seems like a common sense. If you talk about a society that doesn't necessarily embrace this value of human life, that is dominated by AI, that is all about solving problems and filling a shortfall, how are you going to counter that as a group of people, not just the politicians, but the group of people that identify as sparrows who value human life and equality and dignity? How do you counter a bill like this that's already passed the Congress and now it's going to the Senate? Because there's not enough sparrows in the Senate yet, but they still can persuade. And how do you think they're going to persuade people to not vote for this bill based on morality? Well, as Jude always says, there's always a solution. It's not necessarily more expensive or it's not always a binary choice, right? Sometimes there's a third solution. Sometimes you can actually uphold your values and save money. And there's a way to do that if you're creative. So let's see what happens. Let's see what solution they come up with in Chapter 19 to sort of defeat this voluntary suicide bill.